going to try a new strategy called Read Aloud Plus. And what we're going to do first is look at the vocabulary that we may not know. So the first word is church. That is a place where someone goes to worship. Now the picture to help remind us what it means. Okay, the next word we'll see in this book is minister. It's a person whose job is to lead a church. Again, another picture to help us remember what a minister is. Racism. This word is bad treatment of a person because of the color of their skin. The picture, if you notice, shows ants that are one color, kind of bullying the one that's different in the middle.
Black ant.
Right. Okay, so that's racism. Speech. That means it's a spoken expression of ideas made by a person to a group of people. And here we see Martin Luther King Jr. giving his famous I Have a Dream speech. All right, the next word we'll see is character. That is the way that someone thinks, feels, or behaves. And here's our picture of David to help remind us of character. The next word is equality. That comes from the word equal, and we know in math that equals means the same. So equality means to be treated the same no matter what your skin color is. On here we see people that are all different joining hands. All right. Nation is a big area of land controlled by a government. And here we see our country. All right, so those are all the words that we're going to be looking at as we read. Let's read about Martin Luther King Jr. This book's written by Courtney Baker and illustrated by Cornelius Van Wright and Ying Hua Hu. So as we're reading, I'm going to stop along the way when we get to some of these words, and I'm going to need your help. I may ask you to turn and talk about what you think that the word might mean. And I want you listening carefully, because at the end I'm going to have you writing about the beginning, middle, and end, trying to use some of this new vocabulary that we have learned.
So we're writing summary?
Yes, a summary is a great thing to do. All right, so here we go. Martin Luther King Jr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15th. 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. He lived with his parents. He had an older sister and a younger brother. Martin's father was a minister, and a minister is one of the words that we just talked about. I do have them over on the board. If you remember what a minister is, raise your hand. Brantley?
It's someone who leads a church.
Yes.
Kind of like a priest.
Yes, someone that's in charge of the church. Martin grew up listening to his father speak in church. The people at church liked the way Martin's father spoke. They sang and clapped, and again, there's the word church. And what did we say that means? Ava? A place where someone goes to worship. Very good. Martin knew the people in church. He lived near them. He went to school with them. He saw them on the street. Sometimes Martin went to the city with his family. He saw signs that said whites only at the park and at the movies. The signs meant that Martin and his family could not go to those places. Martin felt that black people should be able to go to the same places as white people. When he was 6, he had a friend who was white. They liked each other and played together. But soon, the boy's parents said they did not want their son to play with Martin any longer. Martin felt very bad. He was sad that he had to stop playing with his friend. That day, Martin's mother told him, "You're as good as anyone else, and don't you forget it." Martin felt better. He knew that the boy's parents did not really know him. If they had, they would have seen how nice and smart Martin was. When he was 8, Martin worked as a newspaper boy. He was very good at his job. Martin used the money he earned to buy books. He read about people who fought racism. Okay, there's that word we talked about, racism. I want you now just to quickly turn and talk about what you remember about that word.
It's how now, like they treat you like the colors the 1960s, and there was a group of wives that is whatever that way.
Okay, when you finish, turn back toward me. Okay, Sienna, can you share in? Okay, she said it was about people treating other people that look different, not so nice. Very good. All right, so continuing on, racism, and the book goes to tell us, is the idea that people who are different colors are not equal. Martin thought that all people were equal. He wanted to fight racism too. Martin became a minister like his father. Remember, minister, again, is mentioned in this part of the book. Ava, a person? Yes, a person whose job is to lead the church. Martin gave speeches and talked about equality. He traveled to speak to church groups and to large crowds. We came across the word speech that I told you about at the beginning. And the picture that was with speech was Martin Luther King Jr. Who remembers what a speech is? Alexis?
Like something made up,
You speak. It's a spoken word for a large crowd. Very good. What about equality? Raj?
equality is like people be treated badly, they should treat each other good instead of treating each other bad.
Right. Treat each other the same way. Very good. He spoke to a crowd of 250,000 people in Washington, D.C. He spoke about his dream for the future. "I have a dream," Martin said, "that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." And again, character was one of those important words that we need to remember. Brantley, what was
And the inside of them, not certain you have to judge them by that, not just their skin color.
Okay, so by judging the inside, not the way we look on the outside. Some people did not like what Martin was saying. Most people did. Martin helped to change the way people thought and acted toward one another. Today, many people remember his dream and try to make the world a better place for everyone. Okay, so we're going to look over the words quickly. A minister, what is their job? Alexis? Okay, a minister leads the church. What about a church? Sadie? A place where people go to worship. Racism, what does that mean? Siona? Okay, remember, racism is when you're not treated nicely because of the way we look on the outside. Okay, equality, Brantley?
People who treat each other nicely by their character, no matter what their skin color is.
Exactly, I like the way you use your own words. Yes, thank you. Speech, Raj?
A person talking in front of a lot of people.
Right, good. What is nation, Ava? A big area that is controlled by a government. Good. And character, Alexis?
How someone feels, acts,
Yes. How someone feels, acts, and behaves. So right now what we're going to do, a part of this Read Aloud Plus, is to take what you've learned with our vocabulary that's going to stay up and write about the beginning, middle, and end. And I'm going to challenge you to try and use some of this new vocabulary in your writing. You're going to do that in your reading journal. So I'm going to send the girls to go ahead and go to your seat and get your reading notebook out.